Okay, so we're gonna share a little bit about Eric's birth story.
And I will tell you when you're older how I loved you just the same. It only matters where we're going. It never mattered from where you came.
Should probably go back a little bit, talk a little bit about like the pregnancy story.
Pregnancy was terrible. Yeah, the pregnancy was terrible. I had HG almost through the entire thing and threw up constantly. Terrible heartburn. Didn't sleep very well. Of all three of the boys, this was by far the pregnancy I struggled with the most. It was a long 9 months. My doctor actually let me get induced at 39 weeks because my age, because I'm over 35. So we decided to take her up on that and get him out. And then he decided he didn't want to come right away. So that was
a long day.
It was a long day.
We had to go to the hospital early because the anesthesiologist was, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Had something like she had to be in a surgery or something like that at 7. And so if they wanted the Stacey to be able to place the needle and stuff, so she had the option of having one that had to be done before that. So we were at the hospital at like 5:36.
Because I wanted an epidural. And he wanted me to have an epidural.
Yeah, I don't want to be in the room with all that extra yelling going on. Only one of us can be screaming at a time, and I was going to take the first shift. Yeah, we were there early.
And neither one of us really slept the night before.
No,
very
it
well.
was, yeah.
So we went in more tired than we should have been.
Probably.
Which I think is probably the case for anyone who gets induced. You kind of stay up knowing that it's coming.
It took a solid 12-ish hours.
13 hours. Yeah, it was all day.
6 to 7 at night. So yeah, about 13 hours before he finally did come. You can talk about what that first hours was like. I know kind of what they did, but
yeah, you kind of hung out in the recliner.
I was there.
I know. There wasn't anything for you to do.
What do you want me to do?
So they started with placing a Foley bulb to get me to dilate more. Little man was not fully descended down into the birth canal though, so that's mostly what took the longest, was getting him to decide to move down. So yeah, they placed the Foley bulb around 7:30 or 8 after I got my epidural placed, and
they messed with the IV for a solid hour.
I still have, I think, 6 or 7 pokes in my hand for...
Her veins don't show very good. She has small veins.
They're tiny.
And so that was like a big...
At
one point they had the nurse try it, another nurse try it, a doctor try it. The doctor legitimately called the paramedics to come up and do it. The people that do it out in the field to come put her IV. They did got it.
And he got it, he did good. He got it the first time, but yeah, I got poked a lot.
We actually needed ambulance paramedics to come in. No emergency, we just can't get the IV placed. So.
Oh, yes, and then it blew out at one point, so they had to redo it, which was not fun. Gosh, they didn't come in and break my water until it was well after lunch. It was probably about 2 o'clock before they even broke my water.
Yeah, they put you on that
Pitocin.
Yeah, prior to that.
Yeah.
And they waited for her to dilate, and he did start to move down, just not all the way.
Right, and then he was sunny side up, which means he was going to come out forehead first instead of crown first, which
they didn't want.
Yeah, they didn't want that.
So for like an hour and a half, they had Stacey doing like all sorts of yoga positions to move him.
It's like acrobatics in the bed. It was so
She's
funny.
laying sideways with a table, like a serving tray next to her, and like her legs up on it, like a dog peeing. Then they rolled her around to do it the other way. Then they literally made her. Yeah. Then they made her get on her hands and knees, like with her butt in the air.
To try and flip him, and
yeah, it was a whole thing.
It was a lot of moving around, and it was a lot of the nurses moving me around because I was numb from the waist down. Like the epidural was in full effect.
While she was in that pose on her hands and knees, that's when like she started going into labor. He had flipped around.
Yeah.
And that's when she was like, okay, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, oh, okay. You know, they start pulling everything out and getting all the trays and everything. And
yeah, we had, before it was time to push though, I had spiked a fever.
yeah.
And so they had to put the monitor on him and stuff and make sure he was okay. And then there was a brief time where I started puking some blood. So it was kind of a long afternoon, but everything turned out okay. He was born a little warm because of my fever, but that went away and so did mine.
Yeah.
So
since you had a fever when he was born, he was kind of born with a fever, but his went down within like an hour or two.
Yeah, his went down real quick.
He didn't have an infection. He wasn't sick at all. He came down just fine.
Yeah.
Mom
I took a little longer to
6-7 hours before they gave her an IV, gave her some fluids and stuff, and then hers came back down too.
But when it was actually time to push, I thought that was, easy-ish. Compared to Eli, it was like 5 pushes and he was...
Yeah, he had 3-4 good pushes and he was out. So
yeah.
He came quick once he started to come.
Yes, once he started to come.
Honestly though, it's reasonably uneventful, I would say. There was a few tense moments there where they said he was flipped the wrong way
or his heart rate dropped a little bit.
And then they said, well, he's going to have to be born while you're running a temperature because he's coming. And so a few of those things scared us a little bit. And obviously we're not first-time parents by any means, but just the fact that those were new to us. Those things hadn't happened for us before. So we were a little worried during that time. Honestly, it came so fast though, there was not really a lot of time to answer questions about it either.
Right.
I guess one of the good things is the doctor that delivered him was pretty nice and calm through the whole thing. She didn't show any urgency besides saying, well, let's go ahead and get him out now so we can make sure that he's okay. But she didn't seem anxious or anything about it.
No, she's a really good doctor. I'm glad I found her for this.
When they went to help Stacey roll over to start pushing, she lost an IV. And the nurse come over and is trying to place it because they want her to place it right away in case Stacey has complications. So they can give her fluids and stuff literally right away. And the doctor looked at her and said, hey, how about we have a baby first and then we'll place that IV? Because Stacey's trying to push and not push at the same time. You got tired partway through while pushing.
I may have asked if they could just pull him out.
She literally did. Yeah. Is he out far enough? Can you just pull him? They all started laughing there's a room full of nurses no, honey, you gotta push him out. Mama got stuck with you halfway done. You're halfway born.
Yeah, he was super chill and calm though that first night.
Yeah, he was a lot like he is now, just slept a lot. He was obviously a lot redder. Nothing out of the ordinary, I would say. He'd come out, they cleared him, he was breathing fine. He didn't cry a whole bunch, enough to let us know he was doing okay. But
yeah, they kept trying to wipe him off real hard to get him to cry.
Yeah.
For his Apgar scores and stuff.
Cut the cord and we took some pictures with him getting weighed. It doesn't make for a super great story on video, but we're feel pretty blessed that it was as boring of a story as it was this time. So it's actually, we work a lot, and our other kids are older, so we do a lot of their events and things like that. And so as much as we're not sleeping and everything, it actually feels like the pace has slowed down a lot.
It really has.
We don't have the normal day-to-day obligations.
We're not even worried about work because our team is on top of it and taking care of everything. So
yeah, most of them have been around a long time now, and they kind of know what's what. They know how to pay the bills while we're gone, and make the toys, and answer your guys' emails. They are good at shipping, even with us not there. Shipping times are still super short, super fast. Jeremy's still cranking out toys and building limited toys and prototypes and things like that. So
the last time we had a baby, we were back to work super quick because it was just, we were a lot smaller then. So
yeah, we didn't really have much for employees or support around us at that point.
It's been nice to actually stop and just spend time with the baby. And
our whole since we've started the business has been a routine of that. Get up, take care of the kids, get to work, do as much as we can. It's kind of reassuring, that we were forced into taking some time with the baby here. take that in the spirit in which it's intended. But I just mean to step away from work for a little while, which is something we haven't really done since we started the company. He's gonna travel around with us and stuff, so if you see us, there's a pretty good chance you see him for the foreseeable future here. So you get to be a part of it, and we thank you for being a part of it, and we thank you for helping us and for supporting us and for watching him grow with us.
Yeah, thanks. Oh my god, it smells like you pooped.
His toots have been stinking since I've been holding him.
I wonder if he's
dissipating, but
I wonder if we're like waiting on a blowout or something.
he could be.
He's trying to work it out.
Storms are coming.
I'm busy for the next couple hours. So.
I'm sure you are.